With the amount of drama, superstition, and ego naturally associated with stagecraft, it's not too far-fetched to believe that few structures are the site of more paranormal energy than theaters. Hello everyone, welcome to Hauntings and History, the show where we discuss hauntings and the histories behind them. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. The Playhouse Durban. The Playhouse Theatre is said to be a monument to Durban's history and one of its prized historic landmarks. Built in 1926 as a cinema named the Princess Theatre, the Tudor-style Playhouse Theatre was added following renovations in 1935. Through the years, the Playhouse has been a popular venue for not only shows, but weddings as well. During the 1980s, this building would receive extensive renovations yet again, turning it into a state-of-the-art multi-venue theatre complex with a grand opening following soon after. Today, the Playhouse is mandated to produce live theatre performances in the field of music, drama and dance, and is also home to the National Performing Art Council's various departments. The extensive renovations during the 80s did come at a cost, however. It is said that one of the construction workers passed away in the basement underneath the stage from work-related injuries. He is said to now haunt the basement as a full apparition, walking through walls and still wearing the same jeans and shirt he died in those many years ago. Breitenbach Theatre, Pretoria. Hosting the work and productions from educational institutions, young theatre lovers get to witness the freshness and creativity of these young actors, but many are not aware of the dark history behind the Breitenbach Theatre. In 1888, Dr. Havenik had the idea to establish a small German-speaking society in South Africa. The first venue for their meetings was held in a rented room in the Transvaal Hotel, but when war broke out in 1898, it was decided to build a more permanent clubhouse. The clubhouse was constructed in 1903 and would operate as the official clubhouse for the German-speaking society until 1918. But when the Spanish flu broke out in the same year, it would be converted into an emergency hospital for the people suffering from the disease until 1920. Between 1920 and 1955, this building was used for various reasons. At one point, Emily Hobhouse founded the Langlaagte Center that offered spinning and weaving training. For a while, it was used as a sort of gallery and sculptor's workshop and housed the works of Gerard Moerdijk and Henny Potgieter. Thereafter, the space was turned into a film studio dedicated to documenting the life of President Paul Kruger. In 1955, the National Theatre Organization purchased the building for £6,000. It was renamed the Harmony Theatre, and by 1958 it would host its first of many live theatre productions. In 1959, Harmony Theatre, with the help of generous donations from a Mr. Breitenbach, developed into the new National Theatre of Pretoria. I believe that it's around this time that this theatre's name would be changed from the Harmony Theatre to Breitenbach Theatre. This building indeed has a colourful history. From being a clubhouse to theatre and everything in between, it is perhaps not too absurd to think that there's some spirits wandering this historic building. This building is said to be haunted by the children and their nurse who passed away at this theatre when it was operating as a hospital during the Spanish flu. The theatre staff often report hearing the sounds of disembodied children crying and seeing the apparition of Nurse Heather still on duty taking care of them. Manville Open Air Theatre and PE Opera House, Port Elizabeth. This time it's a 2-for-1 on haunted theatres in Port Elizabeth, as the Open Air Theatre in St. George's has a pretty short history. I do have some thoughts on it, however. Located on the southwestern side of St. George's Park is the Manville Open Air Theatre. Built by Bruce and Helen Mann in 1972, it hosts a summer Shakespearean festival in February of every year. When Pat Hopkins wrote in his book, Ghosts of South Africa, that Fort Frederick is haunted by the spirits of a Shakespearean play, was he referring to the phantoms that haunt the open air theatre? That's the only way this would make sense to me. Next up is the PE Opera House, and being a proud Port Elizabethan, I can say that visiting this opera house gave me so much joy as a child. Designed by George William Smith and opening on the 1st of December 1892, This iconic beacon of Victorian influence still stands today in all its splendor and was the first of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere. When it opened, it was reported to be the finest theatre in all the world by press. Interestingly, they say that this theatre is the oldest and only Victorian-era theatre left on the African continent. During the 1950s, a bigger interest in the latest cinema technology nearly became the downfall of the theatre. But thanks to the efforts of Bruce and Helen Mann and other friends of the Theatres Guild, it was spared and eventually gained national monument status some 30-odd years later in 1980. This beautiful building with its red velvet chairs stand in stark contrast with the hand-painted gilded murals as well as other lavish furnishings. However, one mural in particular has a spooky tale. According to legend, while adding finishing touches to one of the ceiling murals, the painter lost his footing and fell to his death right in front of the stage. His apparition has been spotted roaming the building by staff, and some guests reported talking to a man fitting his description right before a show, only for him to vanish soon after. If you go on the Mystery Ghost Bus tour in PE, they also talk about a lady in white that haunts the Opera House. But what haunts the Opera House is not only the history of the building itself, but also events that preceded the construction of the theatre. It has been reported that the site the Opera House was built on used to house the Port Elizabeth gallows, and it's almost certain that public hangings took place here. They say that the spirits of those doomed to bid their final farewells at the gallows float silently up and down the aisles. This building has a long list of ghost sightings, and staff of the theatre dread being the last one to leave the theatre at night. That's all the stories I have for you today. If you have enjoyed them, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any personal encounters, please feel free to share your stories in the comment section. Until next time, see you!